We're down to the final countdown, just one day away from when the crypto markets could absolutely explode. With huge catalysts lined up and a perfect storm seemingly brewing, this could be the moment we've all been waiting for. So if you're new in the game or thinking about jumping in, this is something you need to hear. So let's break down what could be the biggest move of the entire year. All right, if that sounds good, let us jump into it. We're going to start off by first taking a look at Bitcoin's price. And hello from Alula, Saudi Arabia, by the way. It's a complete dream to be here. But that said, we have work to do. So Bitcoin has been teetering between 68 and 69,000 for the last day. Yesterday, we did touch down to 67,000. And I know many of you may be hanging onto your seats and, semi-devastated or in suspense, not knowing what to expect. But that is to be expected, once again, because markets don't like uncertainty. And we are one day away, depending on when you're seeing this, 1 to 2 days away from the US presidential elections. That has everyone up in the air. But that said, we're going to look at a series of points, data, and facts that should strengthen your faith. We're going to put it that way, your faith and belief in Bitcoin and in the fact that the bull run or the parabolic phase of this bull run is coming, like one way or the other, no matter who wins. So first, we're going to just take a look at Bitcoin inflows. And that's what you'd be seeing on my screen. And this is the last data as of November 1st. Today is Monday. And US markets have not opened yet, and they have definitely not had that data reported yet. So the last information we have is from last Friday. And as you would see here, where I'm highlighting on the screen, you'll see in red that pretty much all of the major institutional funds had outflows, right? They had their investors move their positions away and out of Bitcoin's ETFs and into what they would most likely consider safer assets. And if you take a look, sorry for my hair, you would see that the only one, if we zoom out, that bought more Bitcoin would be Grayscale. So for me, what this chart and what last Friday's data really says and speaks to us about is the lack of experience. The lack of experience in the crypto market, the lack of just experience, because even though these are some of the smartest investors, smart money in the world, they are new to crypto. You have to remember that the Bitcoin ETFs were just introduced this year. So even though they are smart money, this is their first experience. This is their first rodeo, as they would say in crypto. And so that's what you see here. You see fear pretty much, right? And they're traditional investors, so they're going to move towards safer assets. And the only one here who speaks loud and clear of their experience and confidence in Bitcoin would be Grayscale, once again, right? So that's what this data actually says to me anyway. That's what it says. But if we take a look at Bitcoin's dominance position, as you're seeing on my screen now, you would see that the other side of the coin, or the rest of the story or the picture of in terms of what's going on in the market right now, can be seen here. We would see that old money, old smart Bitcoin money, put it that way, that the diamond hands and the true holders, they are moving their Bitcoin off and away from exchanges. And that's what this purplish blue line represents. It represents how much Bitcoin is actually held on exchanges. And it just keeps going down, which tells us what? It tells us that people are not looking to trade or sell their Bitcoin. It also speaks of their confidence in Bitcoin, because you would not trade something precious to you and of extreme value, right? There could be nothing else more valuable to these people than their Bitcoin. So they're moving their Bitcoin off of exchanges. Also, to me, what this is a side note, and this is not news, and this has not been documented anywhere. This is just my interpretation. It also represents just their intention to move their Bitcoin to safety. Because as long as, it's like they say, not your keys, not your crypto. And as long as you're holding your Bitcoin or any crypto assets on an exchange, it's technically not in your possession. So it's technically at risk. That's why you only keep on an exchange what you're looking to trade or long or short or sell. So that's what this also says to me, especially because elections are around the corner and people, I feel like, can get superstitious and, just not want to even risk their Bitcoin being at risk. So in general, my own 2 cents put aside, what this does signal factually is that people are moving their Bitcoin off of exchanges, meaning they're not interested in selling or trading it, right? So it's a really strong signal for us in the big picture and grand scheme of things, to know that even though Bitcoin's price, has not broken through, we're not at like 70, we're not at 71, 72, 75. We are nevertheless, considering markets are so uncertain right now, we are in a strong position because of these other indicators and what they tell us. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is, once again, as I was saying, these days are highly volatile. This tweet is from 2 days ago, but it still holds the same. We will see in a second. Trump is still leading the way, but markets don't like uncertainty. We're all up in the air, right? We don't know, is Trump going to win? Is this going to be a bullish year? Is Kamala going to win? Is she going to shut everything down against crypto? We don't know, right? So that's why we are experiencing these crypto market conditions. That said, in light of the elections, we know that 73% of crypto owners would consider the presidential candidate's stance on crypto when they vote. So this is the first time ever, and we're going to get into it in a little bit more in grander detail in a bit in this video. It's a short video, so just hang tight. But we know that like never before, and I tweeted about this, if you go follow me, it's Crypto by Jess. Never before in all of our, in our entire history has crypto and Bitcoin been such a subject matter and such a decisive subject matter in any presidential election. And it's been the determining factor, as we're reading on the screen. It's been one of the determining factors for the swing states. These are the states that are always undecided. Sometimes they're Democratic, sometimes they're Republican. And for the first time ever, it's been a major factor in whether these states are going to vote for Trump or Kamala. And that's what we see here from this account, Irresponsibly Long Bitcoin. And this is, I wouldn't say this is advice, but it's interesting in any case to think of it that way. And I think there's some reason to it, and I'll let you know what I agree with and what I disagree with. And this is what they say, a Trump win is a buy the news event for sure. Meaning if Trump wins, then it's a good time to buy Bitcoin because we know he's extremely bullish on Bitcoin, has plans of bringing Bitcoin into, the Federal Reserve and backing our treasury in Bitcoin and so much, right? We've seen him on news paying for beer with Bitcoin. He's really, really pushing a huge and tremendous campaign for Bitcoin, which is incredible. So we know if he wins, then this is a buy some more Bitcoin. This is a buy the news event. And this is what this person or this account says, right? This is their plan for the election night. If Trump wins, you're going to spot hold Bitcoin. So you're going to hold your Bitcoin, right? If Trump wins, you're going to gig along or you're going to long your Bitcoin, right? Because it's going to pump. Everyone is bullish on Trump and bullish for Bitcoin if Trump wins. And so it's going to pump. So we can all expect this to happen. So it could be a good opportunity to long it. It's not financial advice. And then strong your alts, right? So assuming you're in strong alt positions, just hold those. They're going to pump. People are going to take their profits because remember, everyone's here to make money. So we can expect there to be a strong pump and then a sell off, and it's just going to be volatile. Okay, so if you're holding strong bags, you're holding tokens that you believe in and have a real use case in the long run, then just expect that to happen and just hold your alts. Now, if Harris wins, if Kamala wins, then they're saying they would still spot hold their Bitcoin, right? Like Bitcoin's value, its use case, is only going to go up in time. Like nothing changes with Bitcoin's inherent value. So you still hold your Bitcoin whether or not the price wavers. But it could be smart to hedge, protect yourself against any losses as well, which is a whole topic of its own. And I'm not a pro trader, but I would say for myself anyway, is I'm just holding my Bitcoin. I'm probably going to buy some more today, definitely before the election, because I suspect it's going to pump. And in a second, we're going to see how Bitcoin's price historically, regardless of who wins, never goes back down below the price it is during elections. So that's a separate thought we're going to get to in a second. And then they're saying that they would short securities, SEC securities. I don't trade. I don't invest in traditional stocks or securities. So I would definitely not be doing this myself. So this is not advice, financial advice. Once again, this is just to share with you what other informed people in the markets are doing. And mainly what this tweet, the message it actually really sends is that you need to hold your Bitcoin no matter what. No matter who wins, you need to hold your Bitcoin. If you can buy and top up, then do, because it is never again going to be this cheap. Ever. And that we see more of this argument on the screen here next. And that's what this guy says. He says, and I've been saying this throughout my videos. If you've been following me for a few videos, and you would know this, I've been saying that regardless of who wins, it seems like it doesn't really matter, because if we look at the chart, if we look at history, historical patterns, Bitcoin pumps no matter what after elections. And that's what you can see here. But, removing election uncertainty is bullish either way, and the target stays the same. So it looks like no matter who wins, we're still on target to reach $100,000 Bitcoin in Q4 or Q1. So, and that's in 2025, right? So this, going into the end of this year, depending on who wins, we're going to pump, guys. So just be aware of that. We're going to see some corrections because people are going to take profits, but we're going to pump. Going into the holiday season, traditionally and typically, there's a bit of a sleepy slump. Everyone's on holiday. But keep your eyes peeled, because that's also when interesting tokens launch, especially meme coins. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But then going into Q1 of 2025, going into the summer, we can definitely see Bitcoin pumping some more. So that's what's to come. And this is what I was mentioning a moment ago. But according to historical patterns, Bitcoin has always gone parabolic after a US election. Always. If you can see 2016 down here, below it 2012, and it's just period. Like history definitely rhymes. So that's what we need to keep in mind of, is that sure, we don't know who's going to win, Kamala, Trump, oh no, oh, the wars, like there's so many factors, like the weather is what I want to call it, that change from day to day. But you have to go back to the data. You have to go back to historical trends. And if we do that, then we have nothing to worry about. That's why, once again, and I'll say it in every single video, you do not invest in crypto. What you need to live on for your bills, for food, do not touch that. That is, you need to keep moving in life, right? Pay for your life. And if you do that, then you shouldn't be worried. You should not be stressed out. You should be excited only, because you would know that Bitcoin's going to pump. And these are the cheapest prices we are ever going to see. And here we have Miles. I love his content. he makes such a good point. He says it's crazy how correlated Bitcoin's price action is to Trump's elections odds. And you can see here, on the top, we have Trump's probability of winning according to Polymarkets. And you can see like in the arrows, he points the general direction it's moving, which is like up and then slight down as of recently, but still leading the way. And then below it, you would see Bitcoin's price, and you would notice that the pattern and the general movement is very, very similar. And why is that? We'll get into that in a second. But you would also see and notice, this is another technical analysis detail to pay attention to, is that separate of the elections, separate of any wars, separate of everything, Bitcoin's dominance has been increasing, right? It's been going up. And according to Benjamin Cohen, so thank you, Benjamin Cohen, for your information, he says that Bitcoin dominance, excluding stables, is approaching the top of the wedge and will likely hit the milestone before end of the year. So what does this represent? It represents that Bitcoin, sorry, it's hot out here. Obviously, I'm in a desert. It's just the sun, the position of the sun's moving, and it's like burning my arm. What this means is that Bitcoin is accumulating, right? It's like steadily going up in value. It's well within this, what is it, like an ascending wedge, which speaks of its stability. And it looks like we're going to reach the top of the wedge by the end of the year. So this represents, and this can go both ways. Typically, like if it keeps ascending up, it means there's going to be a breakout. And it could hypothetically, if it doesn't continue to fit within this wedge, it could break down, and that would be devastating to everyone. But if we, once again, zoom out and look at the big picture of things, it looks like Bitcoin's only going to go up. And that's what we see here in this following chart by NW Crypto. He says, BTC dominance is entering between the 60 and 63% resistance zone. That's what you see highlighted in red here. So, right, because we're not fortune tellers and we do have to, base ourselves off of data, we would know that this has been a resistance zone. So likely those that are selling and trading their Bitcoin, they like to sell around here. This has been where people like to take profits. But when they take profits, historically, it also means they move this value into altcoins. So the money doesn't really leave the market. It just goes, it's like when altcoins are up, Bitcoin tends to not be in dominance. And then when Bitcoin is in dominance, altcoins kind of go down. But we have reason to believe we will break through this resistance point, because down below here, you can see the volume in the market is going up. So that does signal to us that we are going to break through. We could very likely break through anyway. So that is in our advantage. And that said, the general crypto market is like 50-50, right? I don't really like to look at the banter bubbles all the time. I feel like it's a good general indicator of how the market's doing. But I feel like this is more for people, and maybe this is you, so maybe this is useful to you. This is mainly for people who want to take profits. If you are happy in the positions that you're in, which I'm very happy in the positions that I'm in. I did sell my Popcat, so and I've been traveling lately, so I'm probably going to jump back into Popcat and Bonk just to have some exposure. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with all of my positions outside of buying some more Bitcoin. But I'm also happy with my holdings. Otherwise, this is just a good indicator for us to know that the markets are doing good. In general, considering that we're 24 to 48 hours away from the presidential elections, and this is as uncertain as it gets. So considering things are as uncertain as they could ever be, I think the markets are doing not too bad, honestly. And then if we take a look at how the sectors, all the different sectors in the crypto space are doing, I think, it's like, even though memes have been dominating through this quiet time in the crypto market, it's interesting to notice that the market in general is responding as it normally does, right? Which is capital tends to flow, especially during uncertain times, back into layer ones because they're the more solid cryptos, right? They represent whole blockchains. They represent the whole ecosystem's strength. And so leading the way, we still have layer ones, right? So like Aptos, BNB, Ethereum, Sol, Sui, and I guess Velo also throws BTC into it, even though I would consider BTC almost its own category. But we still have layer ones leading the way. Then we have layer twos. It's hard to see on this chart, but if you zoom in, it is very much so layer twos leading the way. As always, nothing has changed. It's always layer ones, layer twos. Then it rolls into DeFi, which is also interesting to note because you will hear this general sort of like chatter and conversation in the crypto space on how like, DeFi projects and products in the crypto space are kind of like old news. They're passé. And that meme coins are the new DeFi. I think that's from like a fundamental narrative standpoint, that's true. But once again, what is real and what has real value and for people, it generates the money as DeFi products do, will still always win in the long run. It's like the rabbit and the turtle, the tortoise child's story. It's like the rabbit runs and sprints and may win temporarily, but the tortoise or the turtle is steady and, long. So I think the same we definitely still see being portrayed in these charts is that DeFi is still third in winning position, and then we have memes, and then gaming, and then AI. So all in all, the markets are still doing well. I think so. Considering the context, right? You always have to consider the context of what's going on. And what is going on is what I'm showing you on the screen here, which is Trump. Man, it's been like an arm wrestle. Have you ever like arm wrestled? And it's like, first they're winning, then you're winning, and that's what it seems like it's been. So not bad. I think Trump's going to win. That's my 2 cents. And he's going to win for reasons like this, because at a time when there is so much uncertainty in the world, people, including myself, and I'm sure your mother and your family, we want solidarity. We want to believe. We want to feel safe. We want to feel like, please, can we have a leader that is certain, that has a plan, that knows how to move us forward? Because that's a good leader. And this is why I believe Trump's going to win. This is why he deserves to win, whether you like everything about him or not. Listen to what he has to say. Crank up the volume.
Bitcoin is not threatening the dollar. The behavior of the current U.S. government is really threatening the dollar. I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
I love how bold he is about it all, His comments.
I didn't know he was that unpopular. Bitcoin is not threatening the dollar. The behavior of the current U.S. government is really threatening the dollar.
Thank you. Thank you. This is why this human being deserves to win. Clicking buttons. It clicked on Elmo. And you don't have to like everything about him once again, but he has a plan. And that's why Kamala is losing right now, because she doesn't have a plan. Okay, now we're going to move into some alpha, depending on how you see it. I'm not personally endorsing Donald Trump's crypto project, but I do find it very interesting. So, Trump's crypto project plans to launch its own US dollar-backed stablecoin, which is very, very interesting because, a stablecoin has to be pegged to a currency. Anyway, very interesting. I took my time to read it in detail, which I will not do for you. But what I find interesting is that they are trying to create their own stablecoin. They're actually partnering with, which I found even more interesting, they're bringing in Rich Teo, we did not get to see him this last time in Singapore, but two token 2049s ago in Singapore, he invited us on his boat, on his yacht, to during F1. Anyway, too many details, but the reason I bring this up is that they're actually bringing him in, Rich, co-founder of Paxos, to help them create their stablecoin, which would be backed on the US dollar, which is really interesting and sort of like benevolent in a way, because it's like their effort at trying to save the US dollar, right? Because the US dollar is severely, like we all know, it's losing its value up to 25% a year. And let's see how they roll this out, what actually happens. And just to always bring in some balance to like my arguments or what I say. I heard Obama commenting on Trump basically using his platform as a way for increasing his personal gains, because he's running for president and he obviously has all this exposure and attention right now. And then in the meantime, he is launching his own crypto company and project and coin, and obviously using all of this attention to pump it. And he would obviously be one of the owners, and so he is directly profiting from the attention he's getting. So I can see that angle, definitely. And I could see how maybe that could be a bit distasteful. So maybe this comment is not really in favor of Trump. But I do have to say, like, I could see Obama's point there. And I could see how it's politically a little distasteful. But at the same time, when you see news like this of him rolling out a stablecoin that will be backed in the US dollar, that will peg his success and profits to the US dollar, so it will end up helping and increasing the US dollar's value, then you can see how, okay, sure, maybe it's distasteful, quote unquote, that he's profiting off of his attention and profiting off of his new crypto project. But at the same time, he's using it to lift up the US dollar, which if the US dollar falls, then everything it's connected to, because the whole world's connected, its debt circle of life is connected and denominated in the US dollar. So if the US dollar falls, it's not just like, oh, too bad for America. Like, no, it'll have monumental, catastrophic effects across the world. So when you hear of news like this, and this is why I'm sharing it with you, it's not to pump Trump's bags, and I'm not even invested. It sheds some light on the benevolence and the ultimate real fact that Trump is trying to elevate the US dollar. So at least he has a plan once again. I don't hear of any other unique or innovative or modern or with the times plan that our current government or the Democratic Party has at increasing the US dollar's value. So all of that to say that. Secondly, in terms of what may interest you, is DOGE, I guess, is approaching the golden cross, where the white line moves over on top of the blue line. And historically, the last time this happened, Doge pumped 21,000% in 5 months. Now remember, this doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it means it might happen. So if you're holding some Doge, this might be a good signal for you. You might be very excited. Maybe you'll go buy some more. Who knows? I'm not holding any Doge. And then, of course, you would know, right? Elon, or was it Elon? I don't know if it was Elon directly, but someone launched a Doge, D.O.G.E. For Department of Government Efficiency. Super hilarious. So that's also another ticker. That one interests me a bit more, which, you know, who knows what Elon is signaling here. He was recently at one of Trump's rallies and he did this like giant ape thing. See, I've been working out. So it could be him. You know, he always uses his PR opportunities to pump Doge. So, excuse me, that may be very well what's going on here, but we know he's also going to be like head of Department of Government Efficiency, as you can see here. So who knows what he's actually pumping? He's a bit cryptic. So, all right, guys. So that's a wrap. I wish you the best. I hope you hodl your Bitcoin. Go buy some more if you can, and just have diamond hands. Just know that whatever happens, Kamala wins, Trump wins, doesn't matter. It's just the weather. The price is going to be volatile, and all you need to know is that Bitcoin is going to go up always and forever, and you just need to hold it. Just hold it. Just know that the parabolic phase of the bull run is starting, ready or not, and you just need to put yourself into your final positions, into the final altcoins that you believe in the most, and that's it. And just wait for the storm to ride out, and then here we go. So that said, I send you so much love from Saudi, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Ciao.